as well. So I'm keen to see it. I'm keen to see if that's something ScridgeMuckDuck identifies.
We'll find out, Jonathan. We will find out. You know, 5-on-5 smoke already, but they're just getting some vision down in the mid lane. Pretty standard stuff here between these two. I mean, they are still looking around here. I mean, the goons wouldn't mind a level 1 team fight, I'm sure, if they could find one. Might be a little bit preferable, though, for the cuts end of things to find that level 1 team fight.
30 seconds to battle.
It seems like for now they actually both just rotate across the other side, so the cut looking to secure the bottom ones and perhaps the goons looking to get the top. Could still be a fight over the bottom bounty runes, though, because there is, you know, Lil Nick and Eska hanging around. In fact, now Giant's going to show up as well.
The battle begins.
So the goons will move in. There will be a bit of a move in from Ade as well at the top side. So it's actually going to be a 3-for-1. As the cut just kind of brute force their way in and just take one of the top ones as well. In fact, they took both of the top ones. So there you go, Jonathan. The cut off to a pretty good start here with the banner in beginning. We can start off with the mid lane. Of course, you are going to have MTD up against Esk here on the Void versus Ember matchup, which is a matchup I feel like we've seen many, many times. Though, what are we to be expecting here, John?
You're not too bad off here on the Void Spirit. The Ember can kind of round up. Once he has his over corrosion timing, it feels pretty bad for Esk to try to play. You also don't have as much dodge potential on the Void Spirit simply because you don't tend to get dissimilate. So MTD should have a good time once his Sleight of Fist is at level 2. Should be able to apply consistent harass. Same thing goes for Esk. If he does land the 8 Remnant a couple of right clicks in, you kind of equalize the lane pretty nice in terms of forcing out resources from MTD. Overall, should be pretty even, maybe down to support rotations if you can get that out by the 6-minute mark. Power runes are really the big ones that kind of dictates who does get the advantage going into their level 6 here.
We should have the side lanes as well, perhaps that bot lane. You've got Lil Nick there on the Underlord, Giant on the Rubik. Of course, Empyrean is going to be on the POS 5 Disruptor, and ScridgeMuckDuck is there on the POS 1 Bloodseeker. This should be a pretty boring lane, right? Like, you know, especially once the Vanguard comes up on Lil Nick, chances are he's just never going to die in this laning phase. So, you know, maybe you've got an opportunity before the Vanguard does come out, but for now, you know, he's still fine. There's not really too much of a chance of actually killing the guy off.
Yeah, just a really static lane down bot. Just going to end up farming on ScridgeMuckDuck and Lil Nick. I'm more curious about what Lil Nick goes for after the Vanguard, whether or not he prioritizes Crimson, if he has to feel like he goes for Guardian Greaves, or perhaps at Atos. I think that's where the diversity from the Underlord comes in. Still taking a look at top lane, which should be a little bit more active. You've got Boris on the TA and Pingus on that Silencer, up against Ade on that Magnus, along with B-God on the Pablo. Although, you find Empyrean.
Yeah, Imperium does end up going down. Giant able to pick up the kill on the Rubik, so a nice little pickup for him. Start for the American goons here. No, the cut, not off to the greatest start. Won't be the biggest thing in the world. Just a position 5 going down. You were saying about the top lane, like Boris and Pingus against Ade, and of course B-God here on the Keeper of the Light. Maybe not too action-packed of a lane either, I suppose, right? Like, unless you can find a nice skewer play onto the TA Silencer, chances are these two are just going to be trading farm as well. But for now, Ade seems to be having a very good time. Already over almost double the CS of Boris here, as Boris was trying to go for the Lotus, but doesn't quite get away with it. Thing is, though, he'll chase B-God for a little bit, but won't go for the full-on chases. The Coddle just proves to be a little bit too fast in movement speed. But Ade is really having a good time on this offlane mag. Like, his CS is pretty insane already.
Yeah, he can suppress Boris quite nicely. Boris, it will take maybe a point in Sideblades where you start to feel safe in the lane. You can start to try to clear out, get some harassment onto the mag. You also don't want to walk up too close as a TA here. The threat of a blinding light plus skewer back is very real. It makes it a lot simpler for Ade to just look for the skewer back. And there's not too much Pingus can do. Like, he can throw out the Arcane Curse, but you don't really care about it too much for Magnus, especially with a Ring of Health up. So, again, maybe a little bit more of a static lane, but it does feel a little bit better for the cut, at least in the first 3 levels. By level 4, it should feel a little bit more stable for Boris. He shouldn't be zoned out with either his level 2 Refraction or maybe Value Point in the Sideblade. Just get a little bit more reach and should just be able to turn that into a bit of a farming lane, just a tad bit, if he does wish to do so.
Bottom lane. We can chase here. Empyrean actually going down first. Giant able to secure the kill himself as Scourge McDuck. Lee should be able to get the trade going and does. We'll find Giant. Giant again finding a kill onto Empyrean before he does go down is a pretty nice pick-me-up for the Ruby. Keeping in mind as well, Lil Nick this whole time is just hitting creeps for free. Scourge McDuck having to go for that chase to make that happen. Pretty nice pick-up again from Giant. Lil Nick, I mean, he's really enjoying himself down to the bot lane. He's got the full Vanguard up now. So even with the Glimpse Bloodrite TPs, it doesn't really matter as mid lane MTD also being chased down on the Ember, but he's going to be just fine to retreat. Though I do appreciate again the rotation from Giant. It makes it so now MTD has to walk back into the mid lane.
Yep, that means he's going to be stalled out on that level 6 timing. You're seeing Esk really control that lane quite well. 23-1 here for MTD up against a 33-7 for Esk. So just getting a lot more out of the lane. The EXP advantage is going to be big. Level 6 timing for Esk means that MTD's not going to be able to look for a cheeky kill opportunity by the time he hits 6. Should lead to, again, a very static time here for the Ember with no relief in sight, as it is the side of the American Goons kind of just looking to secure very early on with Giants. In fact, Giant is just standing in that mid. Still early on for the 6-minute power rune, but they understand how important it is. Even Ping is already showing up for the top one.
MTD already being harassed down here. Both supports from the cut also showing up. Jump is there top side, but it's actually going to be down bottom where the rune does spawn. Still MTD trying to go after Pingus. He's going to find one. Esk forced to try and TP away, and there is actually no cancel for it. Giant, he will still be able to pick up the double damage rune as MTD is going to cop a lot of harassment on his way out. But at the very least, they get the silencer kill before they do go down. For poor old MTD, after all that work, he still doesn't get a rune for himself.
No rune, loses his courier. At the least, you kind of do the same thing that happened to you. You force Esk all the way back home just a little bit, so you can try to get a little bit of an advantage in terms of your level spikes. And you don't feel like the worst situation for yourself. Still up top. Ade left alone is starting to cop a lot of harass out from Pingus and Boris. Boris with level 3 refraction is definitely not going to be zoned out of this lane anytime soon. And overall, a great back and forth start between both of our teams, like the Cut and American Goons, both sitting at 2-2. Less than 1k lead coming out from the Cut, because overall the farm distribution is looking a little bit sharper for them to kick things off with Ade, Scourge, and MTD not too far off from each other. One issue right now for the Goons is Boris's lane. He lost out a little bit too much in the early phases of that laning phase. So he's going to need to do a little bit of catching up. But this is a TA. It doesn't mind catching up too much. Once the levels are up, it just plays in that jungle pretty fine. As long as there's no aggression coming out from the Cut onto the TA, you're still going to hit your item timings here for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of the why the TA's gone so popular in this new meta. It's just so much jungle space for a hero like this that really enjoys it. It's not really too complicated. Just more jungle means TA is just suddenly a better hero again. So far though, 2-2. Very slight net worth lead the way of the Cut. Highest net worth on the board at the moment is Lil Nick on the Underlord. Having again a great time down at that bottom lane. Hasn't really queued up anything quite special yet, by the way, John. So we don't actually know if he's going to go down the standard aura build route or whether he's thinking about the Rod of Atos yet. Actually going for a Soul Ring right now. So not really revealing anything towards us as Ade. It's going to be jumped on here. Last word is committed. Lift up mid-skewer as well. Make sure he can't get away from this. And Boris will find himself a nice cheeky kill as well.
I like seeing these movements out from the side of the American Green support duo. They understand that, no, more than likely they're going to be farming up a little bit until Esk is much more confident in getting the rotation out. So they might as well rotate as the two supports, try to catch one of these solo lanes from the cut and get some punishment going. Good little kill to find for Boris to start building up a little bit more on that TA. Inside of the cut for their part, they are invading. I mean, they've got good forward vision. They see the stacks coming out here on the triangle. So MTD and B-God can get to work on that one.
And there are rotations coming in. Giant actually finding most of those creeps with the Fade Bolt. They do eventually end up remnanting away, and that's going to be a lot of farm that you aren't going to see going out onto the side of the goons. As I'm sure the TA or Esk or even the Underlord would have liked that. They won't have the opportunity for it anymore. Esk jump in here after MTD, trying to get a D ward for himself, just denying the gold away, but it was taken here by MTD. Still gets away with the ward gold for himself. Goons again showing up. Chain's actually out on Pingus, who was around to try and secure the 10-minute power rune, but now he's going to be in danger. And he's just gone. MTD able to pick up another one.
You're already seeing the early effect of that chakra plus side of fist here for MTD. Just a constant aggression. Make short work of these softer supports, especially with the Orb Corrosion and Phase Boots already up and running on our Ember. So it doesn't take too long to clear out a Silencer or a Rubik here. And just get a little bit of a shove down mid. They've got the Siege Creep, which should force a response out. And that should, again, open up the side lanes more for you to keep farming up here.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Mid lane. Group up here from both sides. TD still feeling rather safe himself. Pretty hard to catch the Ember out at the moment. In fact, he's got a lot of teammates behind him. Chains out from MTD. Gonna go on to Giant here, but Chains out from Giant as well. Locking down MTD, and now the damage output, it's way too high. He does barely get out with 90 HP. They didn't have quite enough to finish the job on the Ember. So MTD getting out with the skin of his teeth, but oh boy, that was a bit too close for comfort.
That was pushing the edge just a little bit for MTD. A great steal coming out there from Giant to just get the chains off. MTD again.
I mean, still playing with fire, and yeah, the double chains and sleight of fist is kind of annoying to play against, but we'll force away the Void Spirit this time. He's gonna be fine. Nobody dying here in the mid lane. Both sides playing quite safely, not giving the openings over. Seems like Giant is restacking as well, by the way, in the Dire Triangle, so see if the cut do recognize those stacks have been made again and maybe make another rotation. But for now, happy days. Giant kind of getting back to it, getting back to work. MTD though, B-God looks like they're going to rotate into the Dire jungle. Towards that top lane, Boris would be a huge kill if they could catch him. So the chains, sadly for MTD, going on to the neutral camp instead.
A gift from the tempest of battle.
So the TA and the Silence are both going to be just fine, as MTD could not hold them down.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
The rotation's kind of a wash now. Of course, just back off and maybe head back mid. At the least, you come out with Empower, so you get your double-sided fist again, and that should melt quite a fair bit of HP from the side of Esk if he's not too careful. Still, we are reaching a more passive point in the game, and this is really just a point where both teams need some itemization to be up before you feel confident. Ade, he's got the Echo Saber up and running on our mag, working onto the Harpoon, as you tend to see. The Scourge McDuck already at the Maelstrom, and it is comfy enough to just keep farming up. Some of the stacks being taken out here, but aside of American Green Soul, Nick clearing out some of these for himself. And the smoke out is here with Pingus and Esk. See if he can find the angle onto that Bloodseeker.
The bottom lane. Scourge McDuck still hanging around, just farming the jungle camps. The goons are going to have a look around now towards the south, and they might run right into the Bloodseeker, and they do. Scourge McDuck already caught out by the Aether Remnant, and now the Global Silence just to ensure he has no kind of gameplay, but it does wear off. But no, the last word is there. Perfectly changed as now the Static Storm has been committed, but it doesn't really hold on to Esk. Just simulate, it's not going to be enough. They will at least trade quite nicely here, the cut. Able to take down Esk for their Bloodseeker. I think still pretty worth here for American Goons, but at least you get the trade.
Yeah, you don't mind too much finding that trade. Oh, up top.
The top lane. R8. You're going to be focused here by Lil Nick. I kind of doubt whether they actually have enough damage here for him, though. He's a tanky boy with the Vanguard up, so he's just going to successfully back off. And instead, the American Goons are going to try and take down the top tier 1 tower. It seems like they're going to get away with this. There's no real defense to come, just a cheeky shockwave being thrown out, but ultimately, American Goons, they will get away with the top tier 1 tower basically for free.
Nice little take from the side of the American Goons. Not going to lose any heroes, although a little neck.
He gets glimpsed back. Again, he's a very, very tanky kind of target to try and go after, especially with that Rupture up. But there it is. Rupture now committed here on Lil Nick, and that's going to ensure he can't just walk away. So there you go. The cut able to make that one work this time around. An important pick off to get after your tier 1 top tower does go down. Esk.
Yeah, it's a nice little kill.
Chains out again from MTD. This Chakra Magic proving to be so annoying with the Ember. Esk is going to be fine, though. He will pick up a Haste Rune and just run his way down for
Really big item timing coming out here for the Goons as well. Boris has the full Deso up. Ade finding out the hard way.
Certainly is. He's trying to run the best he possibly can. Ade's still going for a run, and actually Boris gives up on it. Doesn't want to waste too much time chasing, because now Empyrean is here. Static Storm was dropped. Scourge McDuck going to show up, and now the RP committed. Ade not messing around. It's a nice bit of malice into the Firestorm though onto 2, but again, they just don't have enough. Maybe Empyrean to drop, and they do get him. Nowhere near worth it though, considering you just lost your TA.
Yeah, you're still a lot happier here on the cut. Unfortunate for the side of the Goons. They would want to reveal that Desolator quite nicely. You know, a pick off into Roshan is usually the name of the game with the TA once you hit this timing. He gets a room out here for the cut to clear out mid. MTD finally finding that objective, and he does pick himself up the regen rune. So he should just be able to get back into these fights once more and start to utilize that double sleight of fist with a full Maelstrom up. A lot of output, especially if the Empower is thrown onto you as well. A 2k lead now standing here for the cut off the back of these really strong starts. But Roche does just begin for the Goons. Even without a pick-off, they've still got the minus armor to play with. Inside of the cut, they don't really have vision in the area. So it should be a freebie for the first one coming out here for the Goons.
It sure seems that way. It seems like something they shouldn't necessarily be getting away with. Like, the cut is certainly in a position where they could try to contest this Roshan play. But that's not going to be quite the case. The American Goons you're able to pick this one up for free. Something they desperately need, though, considering that they are falling somewhat behind when it comes to the net worth graph. And when immediate smoke up here from Esk and Giant, they're going to twin gate right through down to the bot lane. You do have MTD around that area on the Ember, though I don't think he necessarily dies to these two heroes. Instead, though, they will run into B-God as well, so Giant is going to be there. Lift is up on the Keeper of the Light, but he needs a bit of help. Nobody close enough yet to lock down the Coddle, so B-God, no, never mind, they've got the glimpse back. He will go down. Not the biggest kill, but, you know, they do pick him off at the very least.
You don't mind too much in the cut for the Goons. You know, you just took Roshan, you get a kill, you're feeling good. You've got room now to allow Boris to flex that Deso. Is set to just clear out the bot tier 1 by himself, MTD.
You're trying to go in mid lane. Global Silence was there. The last one, again, perfectly timed by Pingus, and Oh, they do get the kill. That's the big one you wanted to see here. MTD going down, a much more prioritized kind of target that you wanted to see die.
Yeah, that's the core kill you're looking for. Again, you're starting to work this aggression out for the side of American Goons. They're playing around their timings well. Boris has a free time down bot, clearing out the tier 1. Just ramping up rapidly on this TA. The side of the cut, it does feel like they're still waiting for more build-up. And the Harpoon is up on Ade, Blink not too far off. Once that Blink is up, you really need to see them start to clump up, you know, play into the side of Goons, start to threaten with RP, and take these opportunities, especially when Global Silence is down. Like, this should be the time for the cut taking some aggression themselves here.
Esk, jump in on Empyrean. The Remnant's going to connect, but they got the big static storm out in time. Still, Esk is going to drop now on a big RP committed. Ade finding 2 of them. Perfect setup here from the cut. Boris going to try and TP out, but he's going to be dragged back.
Boy.
Aegis gone. Now the cut, they'll go for another. Boris not going to be able to survive through this. 4 down for American Goons, and the cut is really giving it to him this game 1.
Just comes down to this timing. Ade suddenly picks up this Blink. He's ready to go. He nails the RP. Really good Static Storm out from Empyrean, even though it only catches 1. You only really need to catch the Void Spirit with that spell. Gets the isolation, manages to force the Rubik. He was trying to steal the Static Storm, ends up taking the Thunderstrike instead. So they remove the Glimpse as well as a factor in that fight, because that would have been ruinous if the TPs were glimpsed back. And it does line up for the cut. Again, heads up play from Empyrean to set up with a good silence onto the Void Spirit, and immediately removing any good spell steal with a Thunderstrike. As, you know, we already saw the effect of Giant with a Glimpse. He plays it greedy. He wanted Thunderstrike. He wanted to get that Static Storm, loses out in the Glimpse, so he couldn't stop that TP in from Ade.
That they could not. And suddenly the cut, 5k ahead, looking so damn powerful at the moment. 3 cores still at the top of the net worth board. Cut just not looking to slow down anytime soon, I don't think. And this TA, just as much farm as Boris has found after a bit of a bad laning stage, he just still hasn't had the best game so far. One saving grace is they have been able to control MTD quite well on the Ember, just with all these silencers coming out from our Pingu silencer, but he's only died once, to be absolutely fair to him. Here we go again. Esk and Pingu's down at bottom lane looking to set up onto MTD, but he just remnants away this time. They couldn't land the Aether Remnant.
Yep. Enough time there for MTD to react. Backs off. Waits a little bit of that time in the rotation in. And for MTD, he already has the BKB up. He's not as susceptible to the ganks any longer. You really have to hold out on your Global Silence now after you see that debuff immunity kick in to get that control onto this slippery hero. Easier said than done. They've been opening up with the Global Silence more than anything else. So it's just going to be a lot harder now to look for those kills. And MTD is feeling confident.
Pingus caught for now. Esk is around to help out, though Ade has rotated as well on the Magnus. RP is committed. They've got the silencer, but that's about all they've got. Not the worst scenario here. They'll just take the kill that they can get, but Esk is going to be able to make his way out of this.
He bails out, but that's Global Silence, or at least your silencer down with that spell for a little bit of time. You don't want to overextend here on the side of the American Goons while your silencer is gone. They will just play it safe. I mean, they are still getting that build-up you'd want to see here for Boris, working on to his own BKB now. You've got the Auras all active on Lil Nick, just lacking the Crimson Guard recipe. So that's going to be the Guardian Greaves plus Pipe plus Crimson Guard. And that is a lot of damage reduction on hand. That is the one saving point of the Underlord. Very strong Aura Carrier. Still side of the cut. Starting to feel confident, even without the RP. Skewer back is still strong, and they'll go for a smoke play.
That they will. Moving through the mid lane is the cut.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Counter smoke is being used up here by the American Goons now. The Cut are going to reveal themselves down at the bottom lane, so American Goons know exactly where to go.
Tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Glyph will be forced out. They are trying to make their way into that radiant, rather dire triangle now. It's a pretty hard team fight to approach for the American Goons, that is. Making it into the dire triangle, they're going to see B-God. Lift is up. The Keeper of the Light caught out. Global Silence has been committed, but it's already too late. B-God is down, so they'll try to move in onto Esk, but the Void Spirit, at least for now, is fine, getting to the low ground, but eventually he is going to drop the Scourge McDuck. Rather, excuse me, he drops to somebody else as they are melting right now on the Cut. 3 down. Scourge McDuck able to get himself out, but it's a 3-for-1 trade in favor of the American Goons. I actually can't believe they got away with that.
It's a little bit of an awkward position coming out there on the side of the Cut, and they only have the 1 BKB or the 2 BKBs in their cores, but the Global Silence comes out before you get any of your support spells off. This time around, you don't manage to use the Static Storm on Empyrean. Means that you don't really manage to take control of that area. Your team fight falls flat. Really good burst window for the side of the American Goons to play with. And for the side of the Cut, some severe punishment on their part. Like, you will need this full BKB up and running on Ade before any other action can break out, as it does feel like, you know, you need everyone to be ready when that Global Silence kicks in. It can't just be your Ember and Bloodseeker. And with your supports frontlining like that, they just melt. And you don't have your own aura carriers in this kind of lineup from the Cut. Magnus just not the kind of hero that tends to go for the aura buildup, although we have seen it a couple of times before. But there's nothing keeping your supports alive throughout that Global Silence. And that's always going to be a concern. You need that Static Storm. You need that Chakra spam onto the Ember.
Well, the American Goons now buying themselves a bit more time into this game 1. The Cut will take their time to get some farm going now. They're still holding the net worth advantage by about 3k, but it's slowly feeling like it's not really mattering quite as much anymore. Both sides perhaps even waiting for the next Roshan to spawn up here. It was a minute and 30 away from being available. CD in the meantime now has the full Shiva's Guard up on the Ember. Even more of a nuisance here, this Ember Spirit. It'd be a bit of a shame if they allowed the American Goons to get away with a free Roshan again. I think this time around they'll try to ensure that that does not happen. The Cut do show up at the top lane now. They'll see Boris. Be a massive pickup if they could get it, but Boris with a quick blink away on the TA. Still waiting 15 more seconds for the Roshan to respawn, but the Cut are slowly moving their way up towards the pit. Giant, he's going to go in for a lift up onto B-God. Limmercape is going to buy him enough time, though there is going to be the Fiend's Gate coming in, so Lil Nick now going to show up. MTD going right in onto Pingus, but he's going to be fine now to back his way out, as B-God is actually the one to go down first. So a nice little start here for the American Goons. Scourge McDuck moving in. Ade, he's got the RP off. They've caught the TA with that into the skill back on 2, but nobody's down yet. Boris is still alive, and now it's just complete chaos at the top lane. His Giant has finally gone down. Scourge McDuck is moving like an absolute race car right now on that Bloodseeker, but is forced to back off because Boris is way too healthy on the TA. Finding one, finding another. It'll be a double kill for Boris. And a 3-for-2 trade in the end. And Roshan has officially respawned. The Cut, they are not in a position to try and fight with this.
Certainly not. The team fight looks pretty decent for the side of the Cut to start off with, outside of losing B-God first, but Empyrean manages to get off the usage of the Static Storm. They managed to get the RP, although only onto one. I think he managed to nail that onto multiple heroes. That fight's a little bit different. The AoE damage, the output you have to tie in with the Static Storm feels a lot better. Roche falls very quickly here for the side with goons. And Aegis number 2 with Cheese on hand here for the American Goons. Gonna be a lot harder to play into. For the side of the cut, does feel like they need some answer for the TA outside of just trying to kill her straight up. Maybe a halberd coming out, maybe just more armor for your entire team, like a Crimson Guard coming out could help the cause here as well. Because right now, no damage mitigation at all.
Well, at least they do find Pingu's up at top. So Silencer is going to go down. In the cut, they are around the area now, but it's a bit too late. Scourge McDuck, lift up is there. Boris trying to move in as well, but obviously is not going to commit fully
Radiant's middle tower
for the
is under
Bloodseeker. Probably not worth his time. The cut is right behind him.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
So they're worth
attack.
lead down to 1k. All this farm on your Bloodseeker, but Scourge McDuck, it still feels like he kind of struggles to deal with the TA this game. So they are going to move in again. The cut for the top T2 tower.
Dead in the flame.
Chains out onto Boris, but he's just fine. Does have the Meld Dispel talent. Can just purge off the pain, the chains himself. TD in the meantime, we're going to show up in mid lane now. Just clears out the creep wave, but is able to
Radiant's
remnant
middle
away as
tower
well.
is under attack.
Not too big of a deal for him.
I like seeing this kind of style from MTD. Just such an aggressive Ember player. Very confident in his skills to dodge out. Does go back a little bit to keep clearing out the other waves. The side of the American Goons, I mean, they still have this Aegis for a lot of time here. Although,
Well, they have found Boris. I mean, keep in mind, Boris had the BKB and the Aegis up. There is going to be a Dark Rift being committed here by Lil Nick, but he will get just glimpsed back. By Dark Rift, I do mean Fiend's Gate, of course. It's the card now looking to continue, but there is a double Tamager to be picked up by Boris, so it could be terrible timing for them. They're still rushing in onto Lil Nick, but the Pit of Malice is going to hold down the Bloodseeker. So now Boris does show up, but a nice skill play is there. The RP not going to come out in time, are they? He was silenced up. He is still trying to survive, but the Magnus is being chased down by Boris, and he is just gone. Empyrean is also down. MTD trying to go for more, does at least find Esk, but now he's caught out with a Rule Scepter, and he's going to go down. 4 down for the cut, the only survivor being Scourge McDuck. You only lost Empyrean, or excuse me, rather you only lost Esk on the Void Spirit.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
yeah, it's really tough for the cut to take these fights when they can't get their teamfight spells off. If you can't get global, you can't use your Static Storm and Empyrean, in the fights, it feels pretty lost. Whereas for the side of the American Goons, then they have no problem spamming out their spells. They throw out the Global Silence, the fight opens up for them in a massive way. They're forced to BKB a little bit earlier on the cut. They're not able to get the RP off for control. And again, no direct answers for this TA in this game. Boris just free to do what he wants. Still has the Aegis up. 18 charges, 18 additional damage coming out in the Desolator. So about to get fully maxed out in that. Has the Hurricane Pike now as well. He got to get some distance out for himself. The solution here from the side of the cut is Ade building into the Halberd, which again, it just feels necessary. You just have to stop that TA from getting the hits off while you're trying to melt through that refraction yourself and getting some damage going. I think one thing as well for the cut that's feeling tough.
Well, they jumped in onto the Empyrean Disruptor. Clear him down. Ade's looking to try and move in. Oh, the Stolen Rupture. Committed onto the mag, but Ade is just going to continue running out of range. Ms. Lil Nick is now here, and so is Boris. Meld Strike will fly in, and that is Ade gone.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
It's just getting harder and harder.
Yeah, they are still just looking for another fight. They're feeling so powerful right now.
I think it's down to a couple of things for the cut. The durability that you're getting out here with Lil Nick around with the full aura lineup, it's really hard to pierce into. On top of that, just atrophy aura on pretty much your entire physical lineup doesn't feel great. Like, you've got a Bloodseeker who wants to right click, you've got Magnus who wants to right click, you've got MTD who wants to play around with Sleight of Fist. Crimson Guard plus Guardian Greaves and the atrophy aura just ruins any of that. So you can't instantly burst down any of these softer targets, as the side of the goons have been clumped up really well. You don't have that durability on your side.
They're going to lose the coddle pretty much instantaneously. SK will take him down, as now the tier 2 top tower going to be under siege. They will lose the Aegis on the TA, but it's not that big of a deal here for the American goons, I'm sure. They already found plenty out of the Aegis. Even with Scourge McDuck finding himself at the top of the net worth board and the Bloodseeker, like, he hasn't really been able to carry the game as much as you would have hoped. Though he's 11-1-0 to be fair on the Bloodseeker, but just hasn't really felt like a big pos 1 carry Bloodseeker that we've been looking at. Maybe in some team fights it has, but overall, Hero does look somewhat lackluster again.
It's just difficult into all of these auras coming out from Lil Nick. Like, you have no way of killing off the Underlord fairly quick here as well. So it's just, you can't play into the auras. They'll try now, they'll smoke up. They get a good RP, that could kind of dictate the game here. Full Daedalus up and running though for Boris. If you don't catch a TA, you're in a world of hurt.
Yeah, here we go again. The cut. And they'll just move in right away with MTD. Peter Malice is going to hold him down for a moment. Seems like they want Giant on the Rubik first. Meanwhile, Esk is going immediately after the supports on the backside as well. Esk, actually, the Rubik is still alive. He is making it out for now with the Crimson Guard. Giant is not dying. MTD is still trying. Finally takes him out. But now Boris, he can just move in. Look to clean up as they've got the coddle down. MTD still fighting here. We'll remember towards the east of the map, but the traps are there to slow him down. Final remnant away. Has been committed. He'll try for the TP play out, but no, the Aether remnant. Eska's got him. And 3 down again for the cut. You only lost the Rubik here on the side of American goons, and John, it took them that long to secure that kill. It's quite ridiculous how long it took.
The auras are too much. Like, if you don't find Lil Nick, if you don't take him out of the pictures fast, then you just don't do enough damage. Atrophy aura working the way it does, along with the Crimson Guard and the Guardian Greaves to boost your durability, and no one does damage. You went all in on this physical lineup here for the side of the cut. It's just not, it's not paying off just yet for the investment. So the goons, they have a much easier time executing. All the damage in the world to come out here from Boris. No direct TA counter, no aura carrier on the side of the cut. It's like, what do you do to stop Boris? You really can't do much. At least until maybe the halberd comes in here from Ade. Even then, you stop the TA, but how do you stop Esk? How do you stop Lil Nick from just constantly keeping everyone alive and healthy here? The cut have very limited options. They've got to be able to find this better initiation. No, they've not been able to find the big RPs. That is down to the fact that the American goons, they've been so disciplined to stay pretty declumped when these engagements break up. Like, they're not together. They're loosely together. You know, not close enough that RP becomes a real threat. And you just take away this wombo combo teamfight combination that the cut want to play with. Like, the ideal scenario is like on RP, Static Storm, Kinetic Field, but again, you're not finding multiple hero RPs. You're at best finding one-man RPs right now in Ade.
Roshan, gonna be 2 minutes 10 seconds away. It's a very long timer. The cut, might be forced to fight very soon. American goons hanging around the top left corner of the map as well, just maintaining their position around the Roshan pit. Here come the cut once again, slowly just pacing their way up. They'll pop a 5-man smoke. MTD smoke immediately broken as Lil Nick was in the tree line, but the Pit of Malice gonna lock down the Ember. Scourge McDuck trying to get to work here onto Lil Nick, and in fact, it's gonna be a lot of damage flying out now. Lil Nick is down. That's a nice start, though he does have buyback if necessary to commit. They've also found Boris in the backside as Empyrean does finally go down. The Rubik, however, this time should not survive, but with the Glimmer Cape, he's actually walking out of there. Now with the blink away, they still can't pick him off. MTD is trying his absolute best to get this Rubik, but somehow he is still alive. Does go down in the end. Boris is down now as well in the TA, as Lil Nick will die back immediately on the Underlord. I mean, it started off good, this team fight, but the goons are not able to capitalize or punish the side of the cut. And now they will lose another in the form of Pingus. Only Esk surviving on the Void Spirit. And Roshan, luckily for at least the Dire, is not going to respawn yet. But it should be in time for the cut to get the Roshan before everyone's back up. And a pretty big loss here for the American Goons.
Yeah, it's again down to losing Lil Nick early. He doesn't get the auras off. He doesn't manage to maximize his control. And without that survivability on your supports, it's a lot easier to clean up on the silencer. It's a lot easier to clean up on the Rubik. Even your TA is not the most durable here, going for the full glass cannon sort of build-up. So the presence of Lil Nick has been the bane of the cut's existence, and taking him out of the picture gives you this huge opening. Roshan will also be spotted out by the goons, of course, as they have the trap in place, but they can't come into contest. Roche number 3 going the way of the cut. Free refresh shard on hand can feel great for MTD if he wants to have that opportunity to constantly jump in and out of these fights. Or Scourge McDuck if he wants to double BKB. He does have his own refresh on hand. Probably no need to double down on that one. And he does hit this level 25 off the back of that fight as well. So he's got the 2 rupture charges plus refresh. 4 ruptures can fly out in these fights. Rather annoying at this point to deal with a Bloodseeker. No linkage on the side of the goons at the least, so you'll always be able to, you know, prevent that in and out movement that you might want to do here on the goons.
I mean, it's been, you know, this Bloodseeker, like, he's gotten to a point now where he's actually looking quite scary. I think Ade is one of the big problems as well here on the mag. Like, he's hitting real hard. He's doing Magnus things. Was it MTD's hitting like an absolute truck as well with the Empower. They have drawn a line out through to the Dire triangle here, so the cut might make their way over now with a 5-man smoke, perhaps. So it seems like they don't actually have a smoke on them. So instead, top lane is the lane they want to go through. Top tier 3 tower going to be under siege here from Scourge McDuck. Oh, there's the skewer back, Ade. Already finding Lil Nick. Rupture is going to be able to make sure the Underlord cannot get away. And Lil Nick is just down. Boris getting ruptured up as well, so MTD, he can get right to work onto the TA. Forcing the BKB usage out immediately. So Esk, going in by himself with the Global Silence to back him up, he does at least get Imperium down. Problem is MTD is going to find Pingus as a trade. But he can buy back into the team fight. He will do so, but the immediate retreat is there from the cut. I say retreat, but it is a bit of a fake back. They are waiting for somebody to try and defend the top lane of Barracks and go for that creep wave so Ade can go for a skewer back play. But the American Goons, they are being quite cautious about this. Oh, MTD is back to work.
They popped a refresh
again. Esk is there with the Aether Remnant. Now a nice skewer back from Giant. He has actually found Scourge McDuck. And that is the Aegis down already. Nice pick off here by Giant. They'll have to wait for the next skewer though. I think as Scourge McDuck is going to go for a bit of a run here with the BKB, but he's gone.
Boy.
He actually ends up going down. More skewers in here from Giant. He'll find Ade as well. Well, there you go. Be God. He will be the 4th target to go down. And somehow the American Goons, they defend. And they find a 4-man wipe.
It's all off the back of Giant. Like these skewer backs, these pullbacks with the lift. It's just too much. Like the Bloodseeker can't run away considering that no one's low HP. And the refresh pop, BKB doesn't do enough as well. Just the chain stuns coming out, the chain control from the side of the American Goons simplify that process. And for the side of the cut, they are punished for looking for far more after taking those losses. Staying around a little bit too long, especially without Empyrean, with say the Static Storm there, leads to a really rough time. And I think Ade felt pretty safe handing out the skewer, not instead of ERP, but it feels even worse.
Jump in. They've actually found MTD here. That's the big one. MTD down for 95. He does have buyback to commit here.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
American Goons just continuing to go after the top tier 3 tower, and it is not lasting very long, I'll tell you that.
Radiant's top barracks are under attack.
Suddenly, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the American Goons are the ones finding the first barracks of the game here.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It's now the tier 3 mid tower going to be under siege to boot.
Fortified.
Well,
Nope.
I mean, to be fair, the Goons were in control for a lot of the game, right? They had Roche control. It was only that last Roche fight that looked pretty awkward. So I guess this is just back to form for the American Goons after dropping one objective there.
That is a fair point. I'll give you that, John. I will give you that. We have a bit of a fake back here from the American Goons as well, as they kind of just go back into the Radiant jungle for a moment. But they are hanging around, hoping somebody shows up for the mid-creep wave. It's the exact same thing the Cut were doing. Skewer, Giant again. Massive target. He's got the Bloodseeker. Scourge McDuck might be forced to try and fight this one out. He's actually healed up in the middle of this team fight. And the buyback was there from MTD. So now it seems like Americans Goons just want to back their way out, and Giant is still not dying. He will survive. Rupture and Lil Nick, but there's no follow-up to it because Boris is holding all of them back.
Dire's bottom
Now this
tower is
Rubik,
under attack.
he is making life a living hell for the Cut.
Giant's just insane. Skewer's back right as the Rupture is still set to fade. Barely gets away with any HP. Just bails out. This guy has just been a madman with the Skewer. Again, Ade, he felt pretty safe in that last fight on the high ground because he did not give away RP, but giving away Skewer feels worse. Giant showing us that having this extra range on the Rubik is probably 10 times worse to deal with how the side of the American Goons are playing. They're maximizing this pullback potential on the Rubik now. 24-31, a 16k lead for the American Goons. As they are still massive on boards, but to be fair, Scourge McDuck is still huge as well. A lot of potential for back and forths. But MTD buying back, if he dies in the middle, that could dictate the end of the game here if they're not careful on the cut.
Mid lane, MTD going to show himself here on the Ember. They'll kind of jump in. Global Silence is back up though, so you might want to go for that big pick off. There's the American Goons.
Radiant's middle barracks
There's
are
the
under
refresh orb now being built up on MTD. That is fully available for him on the Ember Spirit. A lot of remnants to be able to spam down here with the Aghanim Scepter builder. 17k advantage still standing for the American Goons though, as they are looking to try and put the nail on the head here. It seems like rotations towards the top lane where they'll try to push out the creep wave though mid. Lil Nick with the Scythe device is going to hold down Ade for a moment, but now seems like he doesn't want anything to do with this, as there is going to be a skew back from Ade. Fiendscape is there to try and get some people through to help out Lil Nick, as they have started the team fight completely. Global Silence was committed. Esk was in the back trying to secure some supports. Meanwhile, Lil Nick, he does go down. Scourge McDuck, however, he can't fight. He cannot fight Boris. It's too much damage. At least he does have buyback, but he will probably need to commit it. So I'm sure they will go for a big push here on the side of Goons.
It's really interesting from the cut. They see the Fiendsgate drop. They still opt to take that fight, and the response from the Goons, they just wait until the full commitment's there from the cut. So they see the heroes move in, they go through the gate, and they start finding these kills. The cut, again, getting a little bit hasty there. Mid-rack set to fall just from Boris alone.
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
And that's going to be one set of racks left down bot, preventing the mega creeps come out here. Boris just gets to work.
Well, there's your buyback now from Scourge McDuck. It's going to be more than enough for American Goons to just happily back off now. They have Global Silence back available in 15 seconds, so they could go for another fight, but it seems like they want to try and play for the next Roshan first. Next Roshan, still a minute 40 away from respawning, so a bit of time here. They can just kind of prep the area of the Roshan pit when it does respawn up. Now the cut, I mean, this is one Roshan that they really cannot afford to let go, right? Like, this is... If this Roshan goes down, you're probably going to find yourself in a lot of danger in this game one. Rotations are going up towards the north here. The cut slowly making their way over. Ag's now available. Ag's available on Scourge McDuck. So the Blood Mist is here. But I guess against the TA, it does do some good work.
It does, and you have your spell lifesteal talent. So, yeah, at the least, you're going to get a little bit of regen out with that Blood Mist.
Jump in is there. Oh, MTD. Side device. Hidden Malice going to lock him down. Keep in mind, he does not have buyback. But they are not fully committing. Not quite yet anyway. MTD is fine with the BKB to retreat. So Boris did not want to jump in. So they did not know where Ade was on the mag.
These traps, man.
Oh boy, that's a big slow. Fiend's Gate right in between as well. A big pet of Malice catching out too. B-God is gone. They will also lose Empyrean. And now Ade is not going to survive this onslaught either. They all have buyback. But it's still not going to feel good trying to fight this Roshan play. Which is coming now because Roshan is respawning.
It's a big one. Another Ags, another Aegis, Cheese, and a Refresh Shard on hand here for the side of Goons. No counterplay at all from the side of the cut. They're forced to play the defense game. Again, these traps coming out from Boris every single time in this top Rosh area. This is what's been giving them the first two Roshans. It's been giving them so much vision. The slow, the silences coming out with the Shard. There's way too much from the side of American Goons to deal with here for the cut. For the cut's part, and this is a risky position for them. No buyback on Scourge McDuck, no buyback on MTD, still on cooldown. The angles for these fights just, I don't know how you take them. The scenarios where we've seen the cut win is actually killing off Lil Nick first, but even then, killing Lil Nick is a long process. Like right now, it takes so long that even if you lose Lil Nick, he's done his job for the side of the American Goons. They can still go in and clean up afterwards.
Yeah, bot T3 tower on the next target. Jump in from Esk. Nice Aether Remnant locking down MTD. And the Global Silence is going to make sure he has no chance. No buyback available on MTD. He is down for 2 minutes. That's a problem. That's a big, big problem now. Zakat still trying to chip away at the heroes of the American Goons, but it's not looking too good for them. T3 tower to drop. Now Giant's got Blood right up, so he's just going to spam that over the racks every 2 seconds. So he does jump in. Lift is there. Sight device out. The Magnus. He's fine, but Scourge McDuck is taking way too much damage from Boris. They'll at least commit the RP. Giant is down. They've got the Rubik. The Aegis also gone on the TA, but Scourge McDuck is just down as well. He just can't survive these team fights. So meanwhile, Esk was just going onto B-God. B-God going to be okay to survive. But Megas are up now. The American Goons, they are getting started on the tier 4 towers. They do not want to play this game any longer, but a nice skewer. Ade getting Lil Nick into the fountain, but he had the Ghost Scepter ready. Blimspec not going to work out either. Empyrean getting tipped here by Lil Nick as the Ancient is going to go down. And American Goons, I mean, it was a bit rough at some stages of the game, but they make it work in the end.